Some people sort of come into your life with elbows out, nudging in. Some people seduce their way in. Some sing their way in, dance their way in, tickle their way in. There's a lot of ways people come into our lives. Some people come in so that we don't even notice it. And all of a sudden we wind up with a friend that we've had for years. And we say, when did I first meet that person? Does everybody get into this? You got it? Yeah, you understand? And yeah, is this that kind of friendship? Yeah. You say, when did that happen? And then there are other people who you remember the moment you first laid eyes on, the first meeting. And I'm thinking of one person who came into my life in about 1985. He came into my very first cafe I had up in Funa, Okayama, it doesn't matter. And he came in with his emotional, spiritual personality, chainsaw running. And he came through the store and he kind of came over to me and he sliced up into me, and then he was gone, like sort of the Tasmanian devil. And that was a real cringe moment. I said, what was that? And then he came in a few days later, and he came in with his chainsaw running, and he shot, but I didn't cringe quite as much. And then the next time he came in, I cringed less, and that happened over a period of time, and eventually he became my friend. And he's been my friend for some 30 years now. And you're going to meet him, because he's here to tell you a story. They're sitting right there. Chuck Bernstein is going to tell you a story about a haunted attic that he lived in. Chuck?
Can you hear me okay? Well, this story goes back to 1972 during my hippie rock and roll days when I worked at a drum shop and played in various rock and roll bands. Well, this one particular band that I played in was called Early Light, and we had to get a new guitar player, and we auditioned a lot of guitar players. We got this guy named Bill Malton, and he was a really nice guy, and we rehearsed in the Mission District of San Francisco, but he did not have a car, so when we got through rehearsing, I would drive him all the way across town to the Richmond District, and he lived above a business, a house that was above, it was a store, a glass business, and the house was built about the time of the 1906 earthquake, so the house was about 70 years old. So over a period of time, every time I would drive him home, we'd go upstairs and we would smoke some doobies, and he would start telling stories. And some of the stories he started talking about was about the house that he lived in. And one of the experiences he had was one night he was sitting by the kitchen table and he felt someone kiss him on the back of the neck. And he thought it was his girlfriend, but she was down the hall in the bedroom. And he just got a little shook about that. Another story they told us about, several times he would hear a little girl crying in the back of the house. And he'd go out there to see if anybody was out there. There was nothing. So he said there's another thing that happens several times a week. You'll hear like somebody coming up the stairs, but the doorbell doesn't ring. Well, I'm a little suspicious of this place, but it turned out that I needed to have a place to move into, and he offered to rent the attic to me for $60 a month. And so my cat and I moved into this attic, and I had a very nice little living space with a bed and my stereo. And I put up phony walls with like Indian bed sheets that we got at Cost Plus with blocks. I would block out an area and create sort of a false wall. Well, I moved in and I got used to hearing the stairs, people coming up the steps, and I got used to hearing that and nothing ever happened. So after a while, we didn't pay too much attention to it. So anyway, a couple of months go by and everything's groovy and everything's really nice. We're having a great time. It's a nice place to live. The attic was comfortable. And I had a beautiful Abyssinian cat named Rabbit that at that point in time I'd had for about 3 years. Anyway, one night, get into bed, cat gets on top of the covers next to me. And there was a walkway that goes from where I'm standing back to about where that wall is, where the bottles are. It was about that long, about 25, 30 feet. Anyway, I get all comfortable, close my eyes, and all of a sudden I hear, dum, dum. Holy cow, what the heck is that? Clunk, clunk. It's the sound of footsteps coming up the walkway. So about the 5th or 6th step, my cat starts growling. I had never heard him growl before. So I did what any other 100% American man did. I went under the covers. And the footsteps kept getting closer. Boom, 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 boom. And my heart was like this, just beating like crazy. Every nerve in my body was tense. I was petrified, literally almost scared to death. The steps kept getting closer. Finally, when they stopped, boom, boom, they would have been equal to about where I was laying in bed. They would have been about 5 feet away from me. And then there was nothing but, excuse the expression, dead silence. The cat stopped growling. I lay under those covers. And it must have been a good 15 or 20 minutes went by. Finally I said, oh heck with it, I've got to see what this is. Pulled down the covers and there was nothing there. So the moral of the story is, yes, there are things that do go bump in the night.